So how will the election results affect oil investments in that country? Greg Priddy is a global oil analyst for Eurasia Group, and he joins us this morning from Washington. Greg, what are we going to see here? I mean, we did see the speculation that oil was going to become heavily politicized. We do know that a number of these oil contracts that have been signed with BP and others happened without parliamentary approval under the previous administration. What's going to happen now? Are these oil contracts in jeopardy?
Well, I think the first thing we're going to see is a period of several months of uncertainty with the coalition building process. Nobody's going to get anywhere near a majority. Things are looking reasonably good for Maliki. It sounds like he did well. But it's probably going to take 2 months, maybe even longer, to put a coalition together before we have a firm idea of who's going to be in the new government. Now, as far as the validity of the contracts and whether those are going to be honored, we have a relatively positive view on that. I think that most of the parties, while there's a lot of public skepticism about the contracts, they know that they need to raise output, and they know that they have a decline rate that they need to offset, and they need the revenue from that. So we think there is, no matter who ends up in the coalition or ends up as prime minister, there's a reasonably good chance that those contracts are going to end up being honored in their present state.
Now, there are contracts that have been signed, but how much oil is actually coming out of the ground right now?
Well, there hasn't really been a start of physical activity on developing anything, outside of Kurdistan, which is a separate set of issues, right, because Baghdad doesn't recognize those contracts. I do think there is going to be a period this year of a lag in development because there's still the uncertainty over coalition building, and there's also the question of the U.S. military drawdown over the summer. I think the oil companies are going to want to wait and see for a few months and see whether the security situation holds as the U.S. military draws down. So we're probably looking at, roughly the end of this year, early 2011, before you have a lot of drill bits turning there.
Now, the political alliances have changed a bit here. You just referenced Kirkuk. You referenced Kurdistan and oil development there. Tell me what's different in this election versus the last when it comes to the future, perhaps, and support coming from that region.
Well, I think there's going to be a big difference geographically in what gets developed. The three projects, the large ones that are clustered right around Basra, that's West Qurna, Zubair, and Rumaila, those are in an area which is homogeneously Shia. It's almost entirely Shia population. That's easier from a political and security standpoint because it's not along an ethnic or sectarian fault line. But some of the things in central Iraq and northern Iraq are more difficult from a security perspective, where you have a mixed Shia-Sunni population or a mixed Arab-Kurdish population, and those are probably going to lag. There wasn't an award for the Kirkuk project yet, and it's those political reasons that are driving that.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg Priddy, global oil analyst at Eurasia Group. We're going to keep an eye on those election results and see just what happens with these oil contracts. Thank you so much for giving us your analysis.